Hello, and welcome back to Through the Broken Gate, Chapter 2 A Reflection Darkly. Summary: Netsu has many questions for the stranger who saved his kits. He does not get very many answers. Everything feels wrong. Not painful, that would make sense, but wrong, in the way that makes his thoughts sluggish and sticky, as though they have to push through something thick to reach one another. There are sensations. Soft beneath his back, a weight over his muzzle, a faint rhythmic beeping somewhere nearby. His ears twitch. Good. Sound still works. Sound is warning. Sound is survival. These sounds are unfamiliar. No dripping pipes, no distant subway rumble, no crowd, no arena, no roar of the battle nexus. Just the hum of air, the beep, fabric whispering when he shifts. He inhales too sharply. Fire lances through his chest. His lungs seize, then stutter, then gradually drag air in again. His claws curl weakly into the bedding. His eyes crack open to light that hurts. Sterile, flat, wrong. Not the lair, not the daimyo's halls. This place smells of chemicals and clean fabric. Fear scrubbed thin but never quite erased. Hospital, his mind supplies belatedly. He lifts one paw, heavy, clumsy, and fumbles at the thing covering his muzzle. It comes free with a soft hiss. The air tastes sharp, empty. Easy. The voice is calm, measured. His head snaps toward it anyway. Pain spears down his neck. Instinct screams threat. His body tries to rise and fails. He forces through the blur, breath coming fast despite his efforts to slow it. The figure watching him is small. White fur, a suit, perfect stillness that feels intentional, black eyes that miss nothing. Mouse, dog, bear, and something else beyond that. Not prey, not predator, something adjacent. His heartbeat stumbles. He forces it down. Control, control. The world sharpens just enough to matter. You are awake, the creature says. That is good. There is no threat in the tone, no challenge. Still, authority lives there. I am Netsu, it continues, inclining its head slightly. Principal of UA High School. A name, a title, important. Anchors help when the world does not make sense. Splinter swallows. The Japanese feel slow to assemble, like each word must be individually retrieved. This is... His voice comes out rough, uneven. Afterlife? The creature's mouth twitches, amused despite itself. No, Netsu says. You are in the infirmary. You are alive. Alive? That does not fit. Water fills his memory, burning lungs, crushing weight, darkness edged with peace. His chest tightens as the recollection surges too fast, then fractures. I do not... He pauses, breath hitching. No, where? That is understandable, Netsu replies gently. You experience severe oxygen deprivation. Ah, that explains the fog, the missing pieces, the intrusive wrongness. Netsu watches him carefully now, cataloging every twitch of ear and whisker. May I know who I am speaking to? Instincts flares. Do not answer. Names matter. But scent reaches him through antiseptic and linen. Warm, familiar in a way he cannot explain. Safe, not harmless. Safe. Prey-bane murmurs approval. Protector of young, not a hunter. He exhales long and shaky. Hamato, he says at last, grounding himself in the shape of the word. Splinter. Netsu is many things. Creature, principal, intelligence hero. Slightly deranged and unhinged, if he's being honest with himself. But the thing that matters most, the thing that defines every decision he makes, is this. He is the protector of the students who pass through his school. There's a reason he chose Mr. Principal as his hero name. It was a promise to himself and to the world that he would teach new generations to be more sympathetic, more empathetic, better heroes. That they would never look at someone like him and see only a beast instead of an intelligent, feeling being. For the most part, he likes to think he's succeeded. The HPSC still interferes more than he'd like. The system isn't perfect, and Dever's unpleasant nature is evidence enough of that. He still has to field complaints about Ayazawa's expelling entire classes of incoming hero hopefuls, but more success than failure. That's what he tells himself. He had also told himself that his school was safe, impenetrable, a bastion of learning. He had been wrong, so catastrophically wrong that he almost lost one of the very few humans he didn't mind spending time with. So wrong that villains dared walk into his campus not once but twice. So wrong that a stranger had to save his students and his staff from danger. The break-in is a puzzle he doesn't like the picture of, because it points to one truth. One of his students has to be a traitor. He's quickly eliminated the possibility of it being a staff member. If they'd wanted a class schedule, they wouldn't have needed to break in. But the conclusion sits like lead in his stomach. The other puzzle is equally intriguing and terrifying. The stranger who saved his students and his Ayazawa is something almost as unique as the Nomu, with just as unusual a DNA profile. Chio had reluctantly taken blood samples while the stranger slept, oxygen masks secured over their muzzle. The results were fascinating. Rat DNA, human DNA, and something unidentifiable that showed signs consistent with cephalopod genetics. A deeper analysis of their quirk factor showed damage, almost as if it had only half formed, incomplete and fractured. The oxygen deprivation hadn't helped his already damaged brain. Chio warned that there may be gaps, confusion, and old memories surfacing in the wrong order. Netsu has so many questions. Mostly, where have you been? Because he feels an odd kinship with this clearly elderly rat, but also, why didn't you come forward? This is another animal with a quirk, broken perhaps, but present. This is confirmation that he isn't alone. He's always suspected. The species that make up his DNA are all pack animals, and he has vague memories, fragmented, painful, of a dam and littermates gone far too soon. He's also long suspected that there must have been other experiments before him, both successful and failed. Good scientists never stop at one success. They always ask, how can I improve upon my hypothesis? Not good people, the scientists who heard him, but good scientists, yes. From the reports they'd left that he'd torched to ensure no others would suffer. This stranger is clearly older, clearly suffered through something similar, and he'd have helped. Despite being probably confused after being teleported randomly into a combat situation. Despite his obvious physical deterioration, he'd acted. He'd saved Nedzo's students from the Nomu at the expense of his own life. Decided in a split second that his life was secondary to that of children he didn't know. Nedzu admires that. Nedzu also wants to smack this older rat upside the head and shout, "You are not secondary. Don't do that again." Beneath both reactions, "Will you stay?" The stranger's interruption has cascading effects. They'd arrested not only the Nomu, but discovered that All for One, the Demon King himself, was not as dead as reported. They'd found that Shimura Nana's grandson lived, twisted and broken, but lived, and Kirogiri, one of his students, one he thought lost, was found beneath the amalgamated mess. Oboro. They don't know yet how to undo the brainwashing, how to separate the boy from the monster they'd made of him. But Nedzu is dedicating every favor he's owed, every brilliant mind he can call upon, to figure it out. And yet, despite all that, despite the urgent crisis of one of his students needing rescue from their own body and mind, Netsu finds himself drawn back to the stranger. Despite Chio's repeated assurances that there were no signs of waking, he's returned again and again to check, to ensure they haven't died. He has to know that he might yet get answers. And then, as he's walking in for his daily check-in, he sees it, a twitch of the ears, a long, gasping breath, brown eyes opening, confused and unfocused. The stranger reaches up with a slow, trembling paw and removes the oxygen mask, looking around with the expression of someone who cannot comprehend where they are. With how scattered his responses were, Netsu wouldn't be surprised if the stranger thought they had died. And now, the only thing he'd found out was the stranger's name. Hamato. A family name. Netsu's mind spins. He wasn't given a family name. Netsu is something he made up for himself, cobbled together from sounds that felt right. To the scientists he'd been a number, never a name. But this Splinter, this elderly rat who lived who knows where and saved children at the cost of his own life, has a family name. The questions pile up, each one more intriguing than the last. The Splinter certainly knows how to present a puzzle, but he's also tiring. Netsu can see it the way his eyes are starting to droop, the way he's sinking back into the pillows. He's been awake for mere minutes, and already his body is demanding rest. Feel free to rest now, Splinter, Netsu says, gentling his voice the way he does when speaking to frightened first years. We will talk more later. Those brown eyes blink slowly, already halfway back to sleep. Safe? Splinter murmurs, the word almost lost. Yes, Netsu promises. You are safe here. He watches as the elderly rat's breathing evens out, slipping back into natural sleep rather than unconsciousness. Netsu sits in his too large chair and thinks about Pack, about family names, about where this man came from, and the questions he'll ask when the strange, brave, foolish rat wakes again. He thinks about the word predecessor and wonders if he's finally found what he's been looking for. He listens to the rhythm of the elder's breathing, steady and soft. A heartbeat in a sterile room. For the first time in years, Netsu doesn't feel like the only animal in a world built for men. And he can't help but once again think, please stay. And that's the end of that chapter.